2006 Subaru Impreza 2.5 liter fuel injected engine, naturally aspirated, not turbocharged. And today's diagnostic trouble code P0327, knock sensor. Now this car has about 120,000 miles on it. I'm going to document that because we've had a tremendous amount of trouble with this over the last year. Can hardly keep this car running for more than 3 or 4 weeks before we've got another diagnostic trouble code. So 2006 Subaru Impreza 2.5 liter fuel injected engine. So that's what sometimes you see the 2.5 L for liter, you see the I for fuel injected. As far as I know, 2.5I, 2.5L refers to the same engine. P0327 is the latest code. Now I must have watched at least a dozen videos on how to replace the knock sensor on these cars, and in my opinion, none of them were very helpful. So the first thing we have to do is locate the knock sensor. I'm going to put you in the stand and show you how to find it. Okay, now note that I'm standing on the driver's side of the car, and according to my notes, we come 25 inches in from the fender. So if you come right here to the edge of the fender and you go 25 inches in, you can note that spot. I'm 25 inches in now. Don't know if the camera is seeing that. And 12 inches from the firewall. So 25 inches put us right here. Of course I know where it is, so I'm hitting it. And then you come in 12 inches from the firewall. That puts you right here. Right here. Now let's go look at that. Oh. And the third thing, it's 10 inches down from this spot. So it's right here and 10 inches down. You see I'm having even trouble putting the tape measure down. 10 inches. But that's where it is. Alright, so the guy says it's right here. I don't see nothing. Yeah, well, that's what, let's see if I can do it like Derek from Vice Grip Garage. Can't see nothing. Well, no, I don't see anything, but it is down there. It's down there. So if you don't know that, you're really stuck, because you can be here a half hour and you're not going to see the damn thing. So this right here that I'm wiggling with my hand, that's the actual connector. So let's look at the one I pulled out. This is the one I pulled out. Here's your connector. And it's connected right there. So you need a flashlight. You gotta look straight down this slot. Now in order to get it out, I ended up disconnecting 2 hoses because they were in the way and they were fighting me. Now, if you disconnect this one, be aware that there's antifreeze in this hose, and it's going to leak. You're going to leak at least a cup of antifreeze. So if you disconnect this because it's in your way, you've got to plug that with something unless you want antifreeze all over your driveway. I ended up pulling 2 of this hose. There's another hose here that I took off. This one. You can't see it. Like the guy says, can't see nothing. Well, you got that one. And if you look down there enough with your flashlight, you'll eventually find the knock sensor 10 inches down in this hole. You can get it out. It's a 12 millimeter. Let me show you the tool I used. So I used an ordinary ratchet with 2 extensions, 12 millimeter socket. Let me double check that. Yep, 12 millimeter. And you can unscrew that bolt. Now the next thing, once the bolt is loose, how are you going to lift it out of there? Because I already lost the old, here it is. Because when you're trying to lift this up out of that spot, it's very, very difficult, and this is likely to twist, and you're likely to lose the bolt. So if I were doing this again, since that's exactly what happened to me, I would try to just loosen it to the point where I could continue it with my unloosening it by, or loosening it with by hand. And believe it or not, you can just get your hand down. It is a bear. It is a bear. You can just get your hand. You're working blind. You cannot see a thing. And you're going to try to loosen that bolt. In fact, I'm touching the new one right now. And pull that out of there by hand so that you don't lose it. Now, when you get it out, what I would recommend, that bolt is 30 millimeters long. Unfortunately, I neglected to write down what thread it is. So if you do lose it, you'll know what to replace it with. I had a heck of a time trying to fish that out of there with a magnet. So don't be stupid like me. Loosen it by hand and try to pull it out by hand. Alright, now the next thing, the connector that's down here, right here. That's a two-hand job, and I could not get 2 hands in here to disconnect it. But once I pulled this out, I was able to do this and get it up high enough, because it kind of looks like that. Get it up high enough so that I could get 2 hands on it and disconnect this. Relatively speaking, now that you know where it is, getting it out of there is not, it's hard, but nothing compared to putting the new one back in. And the first aftermarket part I bought, I could not make it work. Now let me show you why that is. Now, as you can imagine, there's no room down in there to get your hand in here. There's just no room. My hand, average size for a man my height and age, not particularly large. Yeah, you can just barely get it in there. It is in, it is working, it's fixed. You can just barely get your hand in there. You're going to work completely blind. The old one comes up and out like this. Note that the wire is like a happy cat's tail. If you have a cat that's in good health and happy, the cat will bend its tail over its back like that. And that's how it is down in that cavity. So when you go to put the bolt back, look at how the wire is. Now, you're trying to screw this in blind. Look at how the wire is. Straight up over my hand, like a cattail. Here's the aftermarket part. Look at the wire. It doesn't come straight up and out. It goes crooked to the side. That cavity is not that big. And so you're down there, you're trying to stand this wire up, and look what it does. You've got your bolt threaded here. No matter what you do working blind, this wire, which has to go that way, is constantly fighting you. It's off by 90 degrees. It's constantly fighting you in that hole because you're trying to do this and get it up. There's no way to get it up without twisting it. And I tried and tried and tried, and mister, if you can get it, then like the old Yardbird song, mister, you're a better man than I.
Yeah, mister, you're a better man than
I could not make this work. I couldn't get it started, I couldn't get it threaded, I kept losing the bolt. The darn thing is not made right. Look at what the original looks like. It's a cattail that comes up and goes over the back of the cat. It doesn't go to the side like this. So I gave up, spent a lot of time, gave up. I ended up buying the official Subaru. Here's your part number. It's made right. The wire comes straight out the back like this. It's actually straight because it's in this box. But when you bend it up, it's not fighting you. So you can bend it up and the screw hole stays flat. So you can at least get this screw threaded. You can get it started by hand. And once you get it started by hand, then you can tighten it down with your ratchet. Now there's another thing. This cavity, there's a piece of the engine that comes out like a point, like that. It's pointed. And they want you to put this in at a 60-degree angle. They don't tell you ever 60 degrees relative to what. Well, it wants to go this way, like that. But you can't get it in this way. Even with my relatively small hand, you can't get it in. I couldn't, but I could get it in this way, or on the opposite, the wrong side of the point. So once I got it threaded, just barely caught, I was able to pick it up like this and rotate it to the other side of the point. And then I could tighten it down. And of course the wire is not fighting me, and so it comes up. Now, and I was able to get it this way. Now they tell you to tighten this to 17.4 foot-pounds. I have a Sears beam type torque wrench that I've had for decades. I use that because I don't trust the Harbor Freight models. They read the negative reviews, that's all I can say. Anyways, I was able to tighten it. It does work. I was able to get it up. Now the last problem I had was reconnecting this connector. It's a two-hand job. It is very difficult to get, see where I'm way down here? There's no height. Very difficult to get two hands in there to tighten that connector. So what I had to do was hold one side with a very, very long pair of needle nose, try to snap the other side in. This was not an easy job for me. I'm just a guy with average do-it-yourself skills. I'm not an auto mechanic. You would think that something that has a single 12mm bolt that you pull out and rip, you'd think that this would be 5 minutes. And I guess on some makes and models it is. Not on this one. Not on this one. So that's what I had to go through. I hope this helps you if you're going to tackle this job on your car. It's been in for about a week now. The official Subaru part. The error code is gone. I didn't even have to clear it. The computer just cleared it all by itself. It's working fine. It's running fine. No issues whatsoever since I replaced it. But while I have you here, let's talk about all the things that have gone wrong with this car in the last 9 months or so. So we had both of the oil pressure sensors fail. That was a P0026 and a P0028. Both of those failed and had to be replaced. One of them's here, right here. Other one's on the other side, under this, down under this thing. So that's 3 different parts, 3 different stucks on the road with diagnostic trouble codes. Then we had random misfire. So there are plug seals in the valve cover gasket, and those deteriorate, they petrify, they leak oil. The oil saturates the plug wires then fall off the plugs. They actually fall off because they're so slippery and deteriorated. And the fix for all that was pull off the valve covers, new valve cover gaskets, new seals. The plug wires are all shot, new plug wires, new plugs. Yeah. And now we have yet another trouble code with this car, having to do with the neutral safety switch. So lots of trouble with this Subaru that's supposed to go 200,000. We've got about 120. Lots of trouble with this car, even though we have taken very good care of it. My mother left us this car when she passed. You can see the interior is spotless, nice and clean, looks like a new car inside. But in reality, Consumer Reports supposedly said Subaru is the most reliable brand on the market. Not this one. Not in my experience. So if you've got the knock sensor problem, I hope these dimensions help you. It's right down there. Use those dimensions. Trust me, you can't see nothing, but it's right down there. That's where it is. And even a guy like me can do it, so hopefully that will give you some confidence. Hope this helps someone. Thanks for watching.